Hi guys, Darth here back on the Star Wars The Black Series action figure review. Today taking a look at a couple of figures I've wanted for a while, and we're doing a 2-for-1 here with this video. We're going to take a look at BT-1 and 000. If you're not familiar with these two characters, they're basically evil counterparts to C-3PO and R2-D2. BT is the astromech droid is a experimental like assassin droid, and he's trigger happy and wants to kill everything. And 000 here is a torture droid. So he doesn't do etiquette, he tortures. They, I think, originally debuted in the 2015 Marvel Darth Vader series, which I have the entire series actually, and I've read the entire series. And then they were recurring characters in Dr. Aphra, and then they keep popping up in like Dr. Aphra and like other stories. They were in the Dark Droids comic series event or whatever not too long ago. But I think they're really cool characters. And I've wanted these Black Series figures for a while. When did these have come out? Maybe 2018, 2019 maybe. And I never saw these in stores. I didn't like have an online pre-order or anything like that, but they went out of stock online super quick. I never saw these in stores. For whatever reason, these guys are really hard to find. But Hasbro recently reissued a bunch of old like red box Black Series figures, and these two were a couple that were reissued, and I actually got these at my local comic book store. I was a bit 50-50 on them because I was really kind of wondering, like, do I really need to have these guys? But I went in the store and I saw them in person, and I was like, yeah, I got to pick these guys up. They are really cool. So yeah, let's take a closer look at them. I guess first maybe let's take a look at BT, I suppose. So BT is pretty nice. He is on the old astromech mold. Obviously, this is years before the new astromech mold came out. So that is something to consider, I guess. But he looks really nice. The entire figure's in this like really dark gray, black gray plastic that has a bit of a shine to it, like these sparklies in it, which I think actually looks kind of cool. And I like all like the white outlining on his panels. It looks really nice and brings out the details a fair amount. The paint detail in general looks really nice. It's got some really nice silver paint here on this little piece here that almost looks metallic, or it does look metallic. The red eye looks really not cool and creepy looking with like the wires inside or whatnot. Some blue detailing. It's got a little blaster there on the top, or at least I think that's a blaster. As far as I know, I can tell it. I can't remove that. It's just stuck in there, but it's there on the top. I really like the little pieces of orange, and the silvers on the vents one all look really nice. You got the cables on the feet, looking pretty cool. He does have the feature of if you rotate the head, it does deploy the third leg. I do not like this feature very much because when you rotate the head, it'll like maybe you want to have the head rotated while he's just standing straight, or even if he's has it deployed and it just kind of doesn't look right. But you can get the third leg deployed there, and he does have wheels, so he does sort of roll. But yeah, there is that. But I am glad they got rid of that on the newer mold, I'll be honest, because I don't like this very much. Because like, yeah, I gotta like re-torque it to get it to be the way I want it. But you know, it does have that same feature. He does have the opening doors for the bit of the tools. You can open the side doors here, and it's a little hard to get out, but you have the little like, I don't know what this is. I think maybe it's a little like electro prod thing that R2 has, and then this is the thing that slots into the consoles on walls and stuff, I think. Something like that, but it's cool. He still has little deployable tools. Ooh, you can put those, port those in. They kind of clip back in. Unfortunately, the door on this side, it doesn't close very well. Oh, oops, I messed that up. Sorry, actually I had to get a tool to fix that, but because it wouldn't close. Even still, it doesn't close all the way, which is a little annoying, but it's not a big deal. Articulation-wise, he just has the rotation of the head, but it does, like I said, deploys the third leg, so you'll have to be aware of that, I guess. And then you do have the swivels at the shoulders, and then the hinges at the ankles, I guess you'd call them. But you can basically do all the posing that you'd want to do with an astromech droid, which is not much. But in terms of BT's accessories, he comes with a bunch of swap-on parts to give him a bunch of weapons. It's like the war machine of astromechs. So you get these two pieces for the sides on his legs. You just take off these bits here That would have been for the rocket boosters on the R2, but here it's for weapons. So let's stick them on there. They stick on decently securely. You've got like a missile launcher on this side, and this side kind of looks like electro, like fires like bolts of electricity or something maybe. Or maybe it's just two blasters, I don't know. But those look pretty good. And then on the sides of the head, you can remove the panels here. And then you get a weapon for each side. So you get this nice blaster cannon. And you can actually port the panels on the side so it looks like they're deploying out of his head. And then port that on the side, the head there. And then you get this missile launcher pod. Port this on there. Plug that in. And then you've got BT all weaponized up. And I think that looks super, super cool. He's got this big ass like Gatling gun on the one side here. It is on a rotation as well as a hinge joint. Although this like ammo belt thing, even though it's made of a flexible plastic, does kind of like to make it bend forward a bit, which is a little annoying. Just something to keep in mind. But it is very cool. And then you have two hinge joints on the rocket launcher, missile pod, whatever you want to call this. And then yeah, there's no articulation for these. They're just static on the legs. But yeah, that looks really nice. I like that a lot. That's pretty much it for BT before I do comparisons. I guess I do comparisons now, then we'll go on to 000. But not too much to compare with BT. Here is the new R2 from last year, I think. And you can kind of see how they look. I actually don't mind BT being on the old body. It differentiates these two a little more. But at the same time, this has been a while since I've taken this R2 off of the shelf. But I forgot just how much of an improvement this new astromech body is. This R2 is really good. But they're still pretty cool together. And then here he is with the TVC 3 3/4 inch BT. That was a con exclusive, I believe, and a 3-pack with Afra and 000. And they're cool. They're both pretty cool. I will say I do think I like the look of the 6-inch one a little better. And also the 6-inch one has more weapons. This one has like the weapons on the head, but doesn't have the weapons on the legs. This one comes with the weapons, optional weapons for the legs. So this one's a bit more weaponized up, which I like. And this one has posability for the weapons on the head, where this one doesn't. 3 3/4 inch one is still pretty good, but I do think the 6-inch one's a bit better. But that's it for BT and for comparisons for now. But for 000, he is basically a repaint of 3PO. He is just the 3PO body with the updated articulated elbows in this black, cool, intimidating black color. One thing though that I never noticed until I got the figure in hand, and you can't really tell unless it's under a bright light, but they actually put like this dirt like weathering on the front of the figure, but then didn't put it on the back or really the sides. So in bright lighting, I don't like how it looks. Like you can kind of see how it like transitions from this brownish color to this more normal black. I wish it was just all black. I don't mind the silver weathering, but this weird brownish weathering I don't like very much. I don't think it's done very well. When they do weathering, that's only like on half the figure. I wish they just wouldn't do weathering at all. But otherwise, though, he looks pretty good. The red eyes are nice and intimidating and creepy on the 3PO head. Very evil. Not too much else to talk about, really. There's not a ton going on. The paint for all the wires and cables on the midsection look really good, I think. The little back piece. You've got some of that more of that brown weathering on the thighs that I don't like very much. Not really a whole lot to say. It's a black 3PO with red eyes, but still, it's pretty cool. Articulation-wise, you have a ball joint at the head as well as a hinge at the neck. You're not going to get a ton of posability out of that, but you can move it a bit. You do have your hinges and swivels at the shoulders. They move pretty good, actually. a swivel cut at the bicep. There is a hinge at the elbow, and I do like how the piston thing there moves inside the forearm, but you're not getting a ton of bending motion. But in its defense, you didn't really like the protocol droids don't really bend their elbows too much anyways, because I imagine the costume doesn't allow for it. But I do like that there's at least some articulation there. And then the wrist swivel, the right hand is up and down and isn't a trigger hand for some reason, which I guess it wouldn't be out of character for 000 to maybe use a blaster. And then just a normal gripping hand on the left side of the in and out hinge. Ball joint at the torso that actually goes back a fair bit, crunches forward just a little, pivots a bit, and a bit of rotation. You can't really full rotate because of the sculpt. You have your hip joints that go out a bit, they rotate. Single hinge at the knee that doesn't go 90, and then hinges at the ankles and at the rocker for pivot. So, I think adequate articulation for the character. The protocol droids are never the most mobile characters ever, and they don't do crazy posing. So I think the articulation that's built in here is perfectly adequate. And in terms of accessories, the biggest selling point with this figure for me is the accessories, because he comes with an interchangeable pair of hands. So you can just pop these hands off, and you can give him these really cool hands where he has all of his different torture tools and weapons and devices coming out of his fingers. And I absolutely love that. That is super cool and creepy looking. And he's got like a little flamethrower out of one finger. Like, it's almost like a missile. I don't know if it is, but it looks like a missile, like a drill bit, a razor blade, a buzzsaw, other serrated blades and whatnot for all of his torturing things. So I think that is super cool. I think if this figure didn't have these accessories, these interchangeable hands, I would have been a lot less inclined to get this figure. So these are a really big selling point for me. The only weird thing is that they have like up and down, like blaster holding wrist hinges instead of up and down. I don't know why they went with this hinge. I feel like this is one case where the in and out hinge would have been way better. But, otherwise, it's super cool. I like that a lot. And they both look really cool together. I really do like how they look together. Continuing with comparisons, we can do 000 next. Here he is with a C-3PO. This is the Rise of Skywalker one, because I would say it's the best 3POs that they've made so far. So you can see, gold, good, black, bad, I guess. But yeah, you kind of see how they look together. Very similar figures, obviously mostly just the color differences. Just like BT in that 3-pack, we did get a 3 3/4 inch 000. So here he is. And I am not a big fan of the 3 3/4 inch one, I'm not going to lie. It's just a straight up repaint of an old C-3PO figure. It doesn't have the interchangeable torture hands. And also it has the gimmick that this 3PO mold had, where you could take off a bunch of parts of the chassis to see the inside, but they just don't stick on very well. Like the back part I just took off because it would just never stick on. And also I feel like he's too small. Like I put him with BT, and BT's like huge next to him. Like the scaling of this 3PO figure is really bad, where the scaling on the Black Series one's a lot better. And then I would say lastly, of course, they gotta be next to Afra. And this is the publishing Afra. The comic store also had the reissue of the first Afra they did. I might get that figure eventually. I don't know. I'm pretty content with this version, so I don't know if I'll ever bother. But they look good with Afra here as well. But overall, I think these two are really cool. I think if you're a fan of the characters or a fan of unique, cool-looking droids in the Black Series, then I would definitely recommend picking up these reissues. I wouldn't pay crazy prices for them, but I would definitely recommend picking them up and get them for retail. But at the same time, they're definitely not essential buys either. Like if you're not familiar with the characters at all, you don't care. Like they're not like crazy amazing, and I don't think they're necessary. But they're kind of a little more niche characters for if you're really fans of these specific characters or you like collecting droids. Anyways, that's pretty much it. So thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and I'll see you all in the next video. May the Force be with you.